The galaxy had known many wars, but none like this. It began with a single transmission, one message, broadcast across every human colony, every relay, every station that listened to the stars. A cold alien voice filled the void. It carried no warmth, no reason, no kindness. The words were sharp like blades. "Humans," the voice said, "you have spread too far. You are dangerous. You are reckless. You do not deserve the stars. Surrender your fleets. Surrender your colonies and kneel to the Council of Dominion or face destruction." The words struck Earth like thunder. Families stopped in silence as the message played across their screens. Miners in distant colonies froze as their work stopped. Soldiers clenched their fists in silence. Even children, too young to understand war, felt the tension in the air. At first, the humans hoped it was only a threat, a warning meant to scare them into obedience. Diplomats argued for calm. Leaders sent back messages of reason. "We seek peace," they said. "We do not wish for war." But the aliens only mocked. In the council halls of the Dominion, they laughed at Earth's words. To them, humans were still young, a species from a deathworld who did not understand true power. They believed humans were loud, emotional, fragile creatures who could be broken with fear. So they sent another message. This one, even sharper than before. "If you truly claim strength, prove it. Meet us in battle, show us your worth in conflict, or crawl back into your dying world and never return to the stars." The galaxy heard this challenge. Many alien races whispered to each other, certain that humans would bow. Others expected Earth to vanish, its fire crushed under Dominion fleets. But the human did not bow. They did not vanish. They went silent. It was not the silence of fear, not the silence of surrender. It was the silence of storms, the quiet just before lightning shatters the sky. Across Earth's military command, admirals sat in shadowed rooms, their eyes grim, their voices cold. They replayed the Dominion's message over and over. Each time, their faces grew harder. Each time, their silence grew heavier. In colonies on Mars, Luna, Titan, and beyond, old warships slept in their docks, rusted and forgotten. Now they woke again, called back to life. Engineers whispered over ancient hulls as sparks lit the darkness of shipyards. Machines that had once fought in forgotten wars roared alive once more. Mothers hugged their children tighter. Fathers placed hands on their sons' shoulders, telling them of Earth's long history, of battles fought when humanity was outnumbered, of wars survived against impossible odds. And everywhere soldiers trained. Their boots struck the ground in unison. Their eyes burned with fire. Their silence was not weakness. It was preparation. The Dominion misread this silence. They believed humans were afraid. They mistook patience for hesitation, discipline for weakness. They thought the galaxy had cornered humanity, that Earth would shiver and bend its knee. But in reality, the humans were sharpening their blades. One admiral, old and scarred, stood before his officers. His voice was low, calm, but every syllable carried the weight of steel. "They demanded conflict," he said. "They will have it, but they will not like the answer." And so, fleets began to gather. In hidden docks beyond Pluto, in asteroid, bases buried deep in rock, in stations cloaked in silence, ships rose from their graves painted black with the cold shine of war. Still, Earth gave no answer. Still, humans said nothing. The galaxy waited. The Dominion grew impatient. They broadcast yet another message, this time filled with laughter. "Where are your warriors, humans? Where are your ships? Or do you fear to meet us in the stars?" The silence continued. But within that silence, a storm brewed. For humanity had learned something long ago on its deathworld Earth. Patience was not surrender. Silence was not weakness. It was the calm breath before the strike. Children played under skies that now carried the weight of war. Farmers tilled soil knowing fleets waited above their heads. On every colony, men and women looked to the stars and whispered the same thought. If war is demanded, then war they shall have. The Dominion expected quick surrender. What they would face instead was judgment. The first part of the story ended, not with battle, not with fire, but with a promise unspoken, carried in silence, heavy as iron. Humanity had been challenged, and humanity would answer, not with mercy, not with peace, but with fury that the galaxy had never seen before. The Dominion believed their words had broken humanity, but while they laughed in their golden halls, far from Earth, they did not see what was rising in silence. On Earth, the skies filled with shadows of warships, massive carriers, sleek destroyers, silent cruisers, all awakened from their long sleep. Once, these ships had been retired, their weapons sealed, their engines quiet, but now engineers worked day and night, welding new armor, fitting new cannons, rewriting old code with lethal precision. Sparks fell like rain as men and women shaped metal into vengeance. In the colonies, whispers grew. On Mars, workers left their mines to build weapons. On Europa, scientists abandoned peaceful projects to forge shields and railguns. On Titan, hidden beneath clouds of orange haze, entire factories beat like a giant heart, producing drones, missiles, and strange machines that no alien had ever seen before. It was not chaos. It was not panic. It was discipline. Every colony, every outpost, every hidden base moved with purpose as if guided by one mind. Humanity was not preparing for a war of defense. They were preparing for something greater, a storm. The Dominion's spies reported strange activity, fleets vanishing from known bases, ships cloaked in silence, traveling through black space without leaving a trace. They sent warnings back to their leaders, but the Dominion dismissed them. Let the humans build their toys, one alien general sneered. We will crush them all the same. But Earth knew what the aliens could not imagine. They remembered history. Once humans had fought each other across continents, oceans, and skies. Once they had turned entire cities into ashes. Humanity's greatest enemy had always been itself. And from that furnace, from that long age of blood and fire, they had learned something the galaxy never understood. How to endure, how to prepare, how to win when survival was the only choice. Families gathered in silence at night, staring up at the stars. They knew husbands, wives, and children would soon leave for the front. Yet there was no weeping, no despair, only the quiet knowledge that this was not the first time humanity had been threatened, and it would not be the last. In deep space, secret stations opened their gates. Out of them drifted colossal war machines, each one larger than the last. Their names whispered like legends: Iron Tempest, Silent Dawn, Valkyrie, Revenant. These were not ships built for negotiation. They were built to end wars. Still, no human answered the Dominion's taunts. Still, Earth sent no message back. The Dominion sent another broadcast, their voices mocking. Humans, where are your warriors? Where are your fleets? Do you hide in fear while your colonies burn? But the humans only smiled in silence, for they had already made their choice. On a hidden station near Neptune, the High Command gathered. Admirals, generals, and leaders sat in a dark chamber lit only by the stars beyond the glass. At the center, an old admiral spoke, his voice steady. They wanted conflict, he said. They shall have it. But we will not fight on their terms. We will fight on ours, and we will show the galaxy what happens when humanity is forced to war. A murmur of agreement spread around the table. No one spoke of surrender. No one spoke of fear. Only one thought filled the room: victory. Meanwhile, across the colonies, training halls echoed with the sound of soldiers. Boots thundered against steel floors. Weapons fired in perfect rhythm. Young men and women, once workers, teachers, and farmers, now wore the steel of warriors. Their eyes burned with the fire of their ancestors. They carried within them the legacy of every war humanity had survived. The Dominion, blind in arrogance, laughed louder. They told their people that humanity was broken, that victory was certain. They promised their fleets would march through Earth's skies within a cycle. Their banners waved high, their voices proud. But far away, in the darkness, Of the outer rim, a human fleet assembled. Ship after ship fell into formation, their engines burning cold blue fire. They did not boast. They did not sing songs of glory. They only waited, silent and patient, like predators in the night. Then came the first whispers across alien space. Merchant ships vanished near human borders. Listening posts fell silent. Patrol fleets never returned. The Dominion dismissed it as accidents, as pirates, as mistakes. They could not imagine that humanity had already begun to move. The storm was gathering, and in that storm there was no hesitation, no mercy, no doubt. For when humanity prepared for war, it was not a question of if they would strike. It was only a question of when. The Dominion was ready. At least they thought they were. Hundreds of ships gathered at the border of human space, their hulls painted with the banners of conquest. The commanders boasted of victory before the war had even begun. They believed humanity would crumble at the first blow. Their plan was simple: strike fast, strike hard, destroy a colony, and spread fear. Fear, they thought, would break the humans before a true war could even start. The first target was a small colony called Haven Reach, a quiet world, rich with farmlands, oceans, and families. It was not a fortress, not a military stronghold. It was home to miners, farmers, children. The Dominion believed it would fall in hours. Their fleets arrived in silence, dark shapes against the stars. Weapons charged, cannons glowed, commanders laughed. "This is how we will teach them fear," one alien captain said, but fear never came. When the Dominion demanded surrender, Haven Reach refused. Not with a long speech, not with pleading words, only with a single answer broadcast from the planet's surface: no. The Dominion laughed. They unleashed their first strike. Fire rained down from orbit, tearing across fields and seas. Cities burned. The sky turned red. Yet even as buildings fell, humans did not run. They fought. Old militia ships rose from hidden hangars. Outdated fighters screamed through the skies. Farmers grabbed rifles. Children carried messages through tunnels. Families who had never known war suddenly became soldiers. The Dominion expected surrender. Instead, they found resistance that made no sense. A single human frigate, ancient, rusted, half its systems failing, threw itself into battle against an entire fleet. Its captain, a woman with tired eyes, spoke her last words before ramming her ship into an enemy cruiser. "Tell Earth, we held the line." The explosion lit the void. For the first time, Dominion commanders grew silent. But then, before their fear could fade, the true answer came. Out of the blackness beyond the system, sensors screamed, shadows moved. Dozens, then hundreds of human warships appeared. Not the fragile, outdated ships the Dominion expected. These were different. These were weapons forged in silence. The fleet did not announce itself. No threats, no warnings. Only movement. Cold, sharp, and precise. The Dominion panicked. "Form ranks, fire on them," their commander shouted. But before orders could spread, the humans struck. Missiles tore across the void, moving faster than alien defenses could track. Railguns cracked like thunder, their slugs ripping through hulls as if the ships were made of paper. Stealth ships, uncloaked behind Dominion lines, shredding supply carriers and command cruisers. It was not a battle. It was slaughter. Human ships moved with terrifying discipline. They fought as if they had rehearsed this moment 1,000 times. Every strike landed with purpose. Every maneuver was precise. Alien fleets crumbled under the storm. One Dominion admiral screamed over the comms, "This is impossible. They are outnumbered. They are—" His words ended in static as a human destroyer split his flagship in half with a single railgun volley. In hours, the once mighty Dominion fleet was gone. Wreckage floated across Haven Reach's skies, burning like falling stars. Survivors fled into the void, their proud banners now nothing but ash. On the surface, the people of Haven Reach stood in silence. Their homes burned, their worlds scarred, but they were still alive. Above them, human fleets formed a shield, their dark silhouettes glowing against the fires of war. The message was clear: The Dominion had demanded conflict. Humanity had answered, and their answer was merciless. Across the galaxy, word spread like wildfire. Merchants whispered of Dominion fleets destroyed in hours. Refugees told tales of human ships appearing like ghosts, striking with precision, vanishing without a trace. In cantinas and marketplaces, alien voices shook as they asked the same question. What are humans? The Dominion tried to cover their defeat. They called it a mistake, a single battle lost to chance. But deep in their hearts, even their leaders trembled. They had seen something no empire should ever wake. Because the humans had not fought with desperation. They had not fought with fear. They had fought with something far more dangerous. They had fought with purpose, and purpose, once ignited, could not be stopped. The galaxy did not yet understand. This was only the beginning, the first strike, the first roar of a storm that would grow darker, fiercer, unstoppable. The Dominion had demanded war, but what they unleashed was judgment. The Dominion could not believe what had happened. Entire fleets gone. A proud armada, shattered in hours. They had demanded conflict, but the conflict was not theirs to control anymore. Humanity had taken the stage and the galaxy was watching, yet the Dominion was stubborn. They told themselves the loss at Haven Reach was only an accident. They promised their people that new fleets would crush the humans. More ships, more firepower, more numbers, but numbers mean nothing when courage is gone. Across human space, fleets moved like shadows. Convoys of warships traveled in silence, their lights dark, their signals masked. One by one, Dominion outposts fell quiet. Listening stations vanished, patrols went missing. No one saw the humans coming until it was too late. And when they came, they showed no mercy. On the ice world of Sharion, Dominion forces had enslaved an entire alien species to mine crystals for weapons. The humans struck in the night, their fleet appearing above the skies with no warning. Within hours, the Dominion garrison was destroyed. The mines were freed, the slaves rescued. Survivors whispered in shock, the humans fight not only for themselves, they fight for others too. On the volcanic world of Kras, Dominion warlords had built shipyards. They laughed, believing their fortresses could not be touched. But human stealth ships slipped through defense lines, planting charges on reactors. The sky burned as the entire yard exploded in fire. Dominion commanders screamed, "This is not war, this is annihilation." Everywhere the humans went, they struck hard, fast, and without hesitation. The Dominion had mocked them, had demanded they prove their worth. Now humanity was proving something far worse, that mercy was a luxury they could no longer afford. Admiral Kane, leader of the 7th Human Fleet, gave the order in cold words that echoed through every ship. No half measures, no hesitation. For every colony they burned, we burn their fleets. For every family they threatened, we end their power. They wanted conflict. We will give them war, and war they gave. The galaxy trembled as reports spread. Dominion fleets that had once conquered worlds now begged for reinforcements. Alien allies of the Dominion began to whisper of betrayal, of abandoning their masters before the storm consumed them. For the first time in generations, the Dominion was afraid, but fear did not slow humanity. It only fed their fire. Human fleets became nightmares in the void. One moment, silence. The next, fire. Dominion warships fell like prey before hunters. Commanders began to refuse orders, soldiers deserted. Even civilians across Dominion space began to question their leaders. Why had they provoked the humans? The truth was clear. Humanity had been pushed too far. In a council chamber deep in Dominion territory, alien rulers argued, their voices loud with fear. "They are monsters," one shouted. "No," another corrected. "They are survivors, and survivors are more dangerous than monsters." Still, the Dominion tried one last move. They sent a message to Earth, their voices shaking, but still proud. "Humans, you have proven strong, stronger than expected, but end this now. Show mercy, and we will forgive your defiance." For 3 long days, the galaxy waited for Earth's reply. Would they take the offer? Would they show restraint? When the reply finally came, it was not the answer the Dominion hoped for. Admiral Kane spoke for all of humanity. You asked for conflict. You laughed at peace. You demanded war. Do not ask for mercy now, you will not find it. The words carried across every frequency, across every world. Cold, unshaking, final. The next wave began. Larger fleets, deadlier weapons. Humanity struck, with full power now, unleashing weapons no alien had ever seen. Kinetic bombardments that shattered fleets in minutes. Swarms of drones that cut through defenses like fire through paper. Warships so large they blocked out suns as they passed. The Dominion cried out. But no one answered, because the galaxy had seen the truth. The humans did not fight for conquest. They did not fight for empire. They fought because they had been given no choice. And when humanity had no choice, they did not stop. They did not forgive. They did not show mercy. The storm had broken, and it would not end until the Dominion itself was ash. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. World after world, fleet after fleet, the Dominion's power collapsed. Their armies retreated. Their commanders screamed for reinforcements that would never come. Once proud, once arrogant, they were now shadows of fear. But humanity did not stop. The Dominion had demanded conflict, and conflict had come, like a tidal wave, unstoppable, merciless. Across human fleets, silence ruled the command decks. There were no cheers, no songs of victory. The crews fought with calm, with discipline, with iron determination. They did not fight for glory. They fought for survival. They fought because mercy had been stolen from them the moment the Dominion mocked Earth's peace and demanded war. Alien races watched from the edges of their systems, their voices hushed. Merchants told stories of black warships that arrived, without warning, tearing apart fleets in minutes. Refugees carried whispers of soldiers who fought with fire in their eyes, who never backed down, who never surrendered. Some aliens feared, others hoped. For in humanity's fury they saw not only destruction, but justice. The Dominion, desperate, gathered its final armada. Hundreds of ships pulled from every remaining world, every last reserve. Their leaders told themselves this would be their salvation. If we destroy their main fleet, they said, the humans will fall. They cannot fight forever. But they were wrong. When the two forces finally met, the void itself seemed to tremble. Dominion banners lit the sky, their ships spread wide, confident in numbers. Across from them, the human fleet waited, smaller, quieter, darker. Then, without warning, the humans moved. They struck with precision like blades cutting through soft flesh. Their weapons did not roar wildly. They whispered, clean and exact. Dominion ships exploded in silence, their screams carried only by broken comms. The battle was not long. It was not even close. It was an ending. When the smoke cleared, the Dominion's last fleet was nothing but wreckage burning across the stars. Their empire, once feared, once untouchable, was gone. On Earth, leaders stood before their people. They did not speak of conquest. They did not speak of ruling the galaxy. They spoke only of survival, of warning, of memory. They demanded conflict, the Earth commander said. We gave them what they asked for. Let all who listen remember that humanity does not seek war. But if you bring it to our door, if you demand it, then you will face us without mercy. The words echoed. They became law across the stars. No one mocked humanity again. No one dared to demand their surrender. For now, when aliens looked upon humans, they no longer saw fragile beings from a small blue world. They saw survivors. They saw predators. They saw judgment itself. And though peace returned to the stars, the galaxy never forgot the silence that came before the storm. The silence of a species that waited, prepared, endured, and then struck with fury that could shake empires to the ground. That silence would forever be humanity's answer. The reckoning was complete.